Hi. I'm smiling for the first time in a long time. Wow. I had a really powerful experience this morning and I want to share. This is going to go in with the videos with the tales of a transformation artist. This transformation artist has just started IFS therapy. What a game changer. I really feel like IFS, internal family systems. I should have my book with me. I don't. Hold on, I'll be right back. Internal family systems. A couple of months ago, this came to me. No bad parts. Healing trauma, restoring wellness with the internal family systems model. No bad parts. Last week I did my first IFS therapy session with a IFS therapist. And it was a powerful experience last week. We rescued the first exile. What an amazing experience that was. We go into that here? No, we're not going to go into that here. Maybe we'll make another video for that. Maybe we'll just, who knows, we'll just keep making fucking videos. This morning, my second IFS therapy session, I came into it having in crisis, basically. I came into this meeting this morning in crisis. All of my parts had gotten stirred up. The exiles, the firefighters, the managers, the self was down. So we rescued another exile. Exiles are the parts of us that we push down. They're usually quite young and they're usually in a lot of pain and we can't deal with it. And so we push them down. So I got into a conversation with my mom a couple of days ago that was so devastating to me. And it brought up what I call the Port Alberni gang. I lived in Port Alberni for 3 years, between 7 and 10. It wasn't the hellishest times of my childhood, but it was second to. I spent 3 years in Port Alberni, and then I spent 3 years with my father. The 3 years with my father were more hell than the Port Alberni hell. Just so slightly ever more. Anyway, this morning, this IFS session, wow. So the exiles are stuck in time. And this little one was the little girl in Port Alberni who had been exiled to her room, banished. I got sent to my room all the time. Go to your room if you're going to be like that. Go to your room if you're going to be like that. Go to your room if you're going to be like that. My mom had a total mental breakdown. She would see it differently, but she shipped her 2 kids off to live with their father, a man that was basically a stranger to them, who she had trained them to hate and fear. So yeah, this little girl, 8-year-old girl, she was stuck at this desk. She was terrified, alone, really upset that nobody was believing her. So these exiles carry burdens. and their memories and beliefs, and they need to be seen and they need to be heard. So we rescued this little one and we allowed her to unburden herself. But before that could happen, we had to get permission from the protectors. So we exile these parts of us. And then we create these managers to keep everything in check. And then we create these firefighters to clean up the mess in case something happens. And these managers and firefighters can become polarized and they start fighting each other. And that's what was happening to me. So I keep experiencing like this war inside, this chaos, just fucking sheer fucking chaos, and it's terrifying. I spent 4 days and a week in bed this week, terrified of myself, terrified of what I could do because I have this past. The 20s. So before we go to the exile, we have to get through. We want to get through with permission, the managers, the firefighters. And the way we do this is we ask them to wait in a room. And so it got to the point where there was all of these parts of me. This is all like, going on inside. For me, I picture it in my abdomen. So all of these different parts of me that are warring are in this waiting room, curious to see what's going to happen. Because they witnessed what happened last week. It was so powerful, the rescue of the first exile. So they saw what happened and they're curious and they want to see it happen again. Basically, the whole system is just so fucking ready to heal. Most of the system is ready to heal. There's some resistance. So they're willing, the firefighters and the managers are willing to go in this room and they're willing to watch. They're willing to step back and watch. There's 3 points here that I'm trying to make I'm just going to try and keep going back to like, okay, so we rescued the exile. Put all of the managers and the firefighters in a room, the warring ones, and something magical happened for the greater good, the rescue. This little one in Portal Bernie, they came together. It was so touching to watch. I cried. I feel like I'm going to cry again. It was like a coming together of community, putting differences aside for the greater good, a coming together for the greater good, willing to put their differences aside so that we could all focus on rescuing this exile. God, that was the third point I was trying to make here. Right? The healing that took place. It was like this amazing healing that took place between me, the self, and the parts. Because I was further exiling the parts. I was upset that the managers and the firefighters, especially the firefighters, for being so messy, for being so intense. I kept saying, guys, calm down. You're not helping. Because they come in and like, there's a lot of self-harm thoughts. Haven't acted out on a self-harm thought since 2008. This flower, some really ugly. Yes. So that was the last time those guys got to act out the self-harm. 2010 was the last time the suiciders got to act out their parts. Because there's this impulse control going on now. So I got to see these parts in a different light. I got to see that they were protecting the system. And there was a repair that happened. That was so beautiful. And there's so much going on inside still. It was sheer fucking chaos this morning. Like, rip your fucking hair out, jump off of the fucking balcony, somebody shoot me now. Fucking chaos this morning. And so the other thing that happened, the healing waves. Sunshine. Last week we rescued the first exile. She got nicknamed Sunshine because she wanted to go to the beach. There's a safe space that got created in the abdomen. It's the beach in Hawaii. And that's where a lot of my parts live now. There's the beach in Hawaii, and then there's also a circus tent. And inside the circus tent is the comfort zone, the cuddle puddle, and the gymnasium. This is all in my abdomen. These are the safe place, safe space that I've created for the parts. So they're all welcome there. They're all together. They're not alone. Their feelings are welcome, valid, and they belong. So Sunshine got her nickname because she wanted to go to the beach when she got rescued. She's the healer. And she's the joy. And like, I look at my face. I haven't smiled like this in years. There's a, gosh, see the sparkles in her eyes, and it's like, wow. So Sunshine comes in to this whole IFS thing this morning. So we got all the managers and the firefighters in the room, and we've already noticed that they're like working together, and there's been this healing happen, this repair between the self and the parts. And Sunshine comes in and just starts spraying sparkles everywhere. She's like this little sprite, just like exuding. I can still feel it. So the physical sensations, that's what I'm going to talk about now. The physical sensations was like being in a powerful energy healing session. So I used to do energy healing. I've experienced a lot of energy healing. I've experienced a lot of group healing, chanting meditation, where there's a lot of energy movement and there's sensations, heat, vibration, tingling, pulsating, It was all coming from my chest, like just these waves of heat. I was sweating. My whole body was covered in this thin film of sweat. I was vibrating. I was tingling. I had these like pulsations, like ripples coming out, but like waves, pulsating heat, vibrations, and I could see sunshine just like. And so that's the healing, like we just allow the system to be overwhelmed by that. All parts on board that feel it. And the little girl in the room got to experience that as well. When I first saw her, she was down this little tunnel, like down the tunnel in a dark area. Little tunnel, small. I couldn't access her. The healing happened in the room, the waiting room with the protectors. Sunshine, throwing just waves and waves. Getting down to the little girl, opening the channel so that I could get down there to her. She fucking leapt into my arms and was like, "What took you so long?" She could immediately recognize that I was an older version of her. This didn't happen with Sunshine. The first exile did not recognize me as the older version, did not trust me in the beginning. This little one was just, she like leapt into my arms, like, feet, like legs and arms wrapped around me. What took you so long? So once we find an exile, once we get to them, we unburden them. What are they carrying that they need to let go of? And where are they stuck in time that they need to get out of? And before she would talk to me about what she wanted to say, she wanted the fuck out of that room. I mean, she had like a condition. I want out of here. Please get me out of here. So at first we went into the cuddle puddle with a bunch of other parts so that we weren't alone. So she could see that there was others. That wasn't the best idea. Because as soon as she started unburdening, telling me stories, what did she want me to know? How hard was it for her? Other parts kicked in too, and it got a little bit chaotic, and so I had to assure those parts that I would come back and that they would be able to share their stories as well. This little one and I went to the beach. It was just the two of us, and we could talk. And she unburdened, and she told me how terrified she was and how alone she was, and that she had people that were hurting her and nobody believed her. She had physical pain and nobody believed her. And she didn't understand what was wrong with her, like what was inherently wrong with her, because she didn't understand why she was being punished. Go to your room if you're going to be like that. Go to your room if you're going to be like that. Like being punished just for being herself. And so there was a lot of shame, a lot of fear, and a lot of mistrust. Like nobody believes me. So she let all of that go. And there's more. Because see, we ran out of time. It's a 75-minute session. We would turn it into a 2-hour session. So we kind of ran out of time. So we let her know. So Okay, so the point is, what did we do? We rescued her. She's no longer in the room. She's no longer alone. She has free reign. So there's a large space in my abdomen where there's a whole beach in Hawaii, white sandy beach with yurts and like all sorts of things um, to play with, right? To experience. And then there's the circus tent. And both of these spaces are way too big. Like they're both huge. They're both limitless, like the holodeck on the fucking Starship Enterprise. And all of the parts go there. All parts are welcome. And they all belong. And they're not alone. Their feelings are valid. I feel I'm a completely different person now than I was this morning. All of this weight has been lifted. All of this internal turmoil has been smoothed out, has been calmed down, and there is a camaraderie. It just feels like a smoothing out, the whole thing, a smoothing out and a lightening. And like, look at my face. Fuck. It's fucking amazing. The lightness in my face compared to the video I did this morning. The IFS, little mini IFS session I did on my own before my IFS therapy session. It's amazing. The sparkliness, the it's quite flabbergasting. And so I really just felt inspired to share. Internal family systems, IFS. It really feels like, to me, like a trail in trauma healing. It's not just for trauma. Like, I don't have all of these parts because I was traumatized. Everybody's got the exiles. Everybody has the managers. Everybody has the firefighters. Because of the trauma I experienced, mine are extreme. So everything's a spectrum, right? People with less adverse childhood experiences would have less parts, perhaps, and less polarized parts, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not an expert. And then those of us who have had more adverse childhood events are going to have more exiles. We're going to have more active managers, more vicious firefighters, and perhaps a more overwhelming self. I love that this has pathologized mental health issues. Because when I was talking to my psychiatrist about this stuff, I got severely fucking medicated. I got labeled as psychotic. Never did get the label of dissociative identity disorder, but I definitely had so many issues with that. And I love IFS because it just basically views DID, dissociative identity disorder, as like the extreme end of the spectrum, where the parts are so polarized and they're so dissociated that you're not even aware of each other. I'm not doing any of this. I didn't do any of this in a dissociative manner. The self was there the whole time. I have been having experiences of dissociation, but this whole parts therapy stuff is like, it's in a non-dissociated state. We are very aware of each other. And so now there's like a community. The system systems working together, and like, guys, what a fucking game changer this is. You're 13 and a half on the recovery journey. Another fucking game changer. The holy grail of trauma healing. IFS. There's going to be more of these videos. This is so powerful. Thank you for listening.